Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are jumping into all of the Ipsy, Boxycharm, Glossy Box, all of the subscription boxes for July, August, and September that I haven't been playing with. I did get sick in July, so I really didn't film with much. August was pretty similar, so we're jumping into a full face of new makeup, all coming out of subscription boxes, and I think everything turned out pretty good, but we did have a few hiccups along the way. As always, I would love to hear what you have to think at the end, but this is the final look. If you're interested in seeing how we got here, make sure to keep on watching, and don't forget to subscribe because I upload every other day. And that'll be the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. So if you want to jump into today's look, which is pretty soft and effortless, if I may say so myself, out of all of the subscription boxes for September, and even some items going back into August and July, stay tuned. Alright, I did already prime my eyes off camera, and I did not have a new eye primer, so I'm using the same thing I always do. For today, we're going to be using the Zendo palette from Natasha Denona. This came out of this month's Boxycharm, and I really don't know if I want to go more on the neutral side or more on the bold side. We're going to kind of play around somewhere in the middle. I'm going to start off with the shade Balance right here, taking that on a dense brush. I'm going to gently define the crease. Now this formula I am very familiar with, and it is very pigmented. You do not need a lot. In fact, I actually recommend going in with a softer amount and building it up slowly. Switching to a clean brush, I'm going to go into a mixture of that color with Vigor, this red brick color down here. I really want it to be a mix. And I'm going to press that lower to the eye and then gently buff it in. Switching back to just the first color, I'm going to blend the edges and take it up a little higher. And then jumping into Relief, the soft pink, I'm going to take that just on the tip and I'm going to blend out the outermost area just to soften it even more. Way back when, I still would have done a lot of blending, but I probably would have let the darker shade go up a little higher. Lately, I've been really liking a softer look, so anything to diffuse those edges and make everything a little bit more natural. Next, I'm going to take Zeal down here, which is like an olive green gray, and I'm going to take a very small amount of that, and I'm just going to target it on the very lower part of the eye. And once I have it where I want it, I'm going to go back into that first brown color and blend over it. We're just using that green to tone the outer corner to make it a little bit of a darker smoke. You see how this has a lot more of a contour to it versus the side where we didn't add it? That's just going to make the whole eye look a little rounder. Next, I'm going to take the shade Yama right here, which is a very beautiful champagne, and I'm going to press that all over the lid. I'm going to take that on a flat packer brush, and I am going to give it a quick mist with some setting spray just to make it pop a little bit extra. Now it has almost a duochrome effect with this green gold over champagne, which is not what I was expecting, but I do think it looks really pretty. Going back into that brown color, I'm just going to gently soften the edges. All right, and the rest will wrap up after concealer, so I'm going to set the palette aside for now. And I'm going to, I already prepped my skin, I'm going to jump into, this is the Kat Von D or KVD Beauty Good Apple Foundation, the shade Light 006. And I'm taking that on an Anissa Pinnacle Foundation brush. Now, this product is one that went really viral a while ago, and then it sold out for a while, and I have not gotten a chance to try it. In the pan, that looks like such a darker color, so I'm hoping if I shear this out. All right, I'm going to go wash this off, and we'll try a different foundation today. All right, take two. That was obviously way too light, so instead we're going to try the Summer Fridays Sheer Skin Tint. This is in the shade 2. And hopefully This is a better shade match than the Good Apple. Oh, that's much better already. So using the same brush, which I did try and get all of the other product out of, looks a little light. That brush might not be perfectly clean, so I'm going to grab a different foundation brush and try that instead. Nope, that just definitely feels very light. So that's also going to be a pass. I'm going to off camera get this foundation situation cleaned up, and I'll be right back. All right, so I did clean that up with a little bit of the Beauty For Real MVP Tinted Moisturizer, which you know is a favorite of mine. And I think this is a pretty close match to what I actually look like. Next, we're going to take the Kulfi Mini Main Match Concealer. This is in the shade Cocoa Crush. Does look like it's going to be a little light. We're going to try it anyway. I'm just going to go in with a very light hand. It actually doesn't look crazy light, so that might actually be a nice shade. That's actually a really nice finish. It is sort of breaking up the coverage on my cheek. We'll just have to keep an eye on that because it's looking nice everywhere else. All right, that's brightening nicely. I'm going to do some setting powder and get all of this taken care of, and I'll be right back. All right, we are lightly set down. Next up, coming out of the Boxy this month, this is the Brow Kiki pencil from One Size. This is in the shade medium brown, and I don't typically love a brow pencil like this, but we are going to give it a try. I did recently shape my brows, so it's going to be an easier brow day. Just going to take that and gently fill in where I feel I need a little bit more. Yeah, and even just that tiny bit definitely helps. I think it's a nice color. A lot of medium browns tend to lean like gray brown or red brown. I think this is a nice true neutral, and I didn't need a ton, but I am just lightly filling in the few areas where I feel sparse. I think it looks good. I am going to take a tiny bit of the Benefit Gimme Brow, which is just a brow gel, just to fill it in a little more and lock it in place. That is not a negative to the brow pencil. I typically tend to enjoy a brow gel more anyway, but typically, you know, layering the two will give you a really nice finish, at least in my opinion, and I think those look good. I did spray the face with a little bit of setting spray and just patted that out with a sponge just so that I can kind of take down the powderiness because I will be using a cream blush. But while I wait for the skin to really warm up, I'm going to finish up the eyes. I do tend to like to do it this way just because I've done the top of the eye. Now I'm going to do the lower lash and my mascara and stuff like that. That way, you know, when you let your face sit with the foundation and powder a little bit, they kind of meld together, and then just a couple layers of setting spray, pat out with a beauty sponge, will just help everything to feel very lifelike. I'm going to use the same colors I've been using, so I'm going to start on a very small brush with a tiny bit of Zeal, and I'm going to go very close to the lash line and really concentrating that on the outer corner. Once I feel like I have that in place, I'm going to switch to a larger pencil brush on Balance, that first shade we've been using, and I'm going to blend all of that together, and I'm going to connect it out here to the outer edge of the upper lash. When you connect the two, everything looks more harmonious. You don't have that line where one starts and one finishes. Now, normally I would do a liner in the waterline, but I want to keep it very bright, so I'm going to keep it as is. I am, however, going to curl my lashes and get them prepped for mascara. All right, I did have a few mascaras to choose from. Today I'm using Melloway, the Your Way mascara. And the reason I wanted to use this is that the wand bends, and I was really excited to give that a try. All right, so I thought I was going to absolutely love this, but because the wand is on this little ball, there's really no rigidity, so it does become, you know, a little bit difficult to use because the wand keeps moving. So I'm going to switch to a different one just to comb this out and try and fix it a little bit because that wand is just way too flexible for me. I don't typically love a big wand like this one either, but I do find comparatively it is easier to work with over the one I just had. And look how much better that this lash looks compared to the original underneath when we tried it. All right, that is much better. Lastly, before we finish this up, I am going to grab, give me something to highlight the inner corner. And I thought there would be a shade in there. So I'm going to actually dip into a different palette. This is the One by Lawless. And I'm going to take this champagne highlight shade right here. And I'm going to brighten the inner corner. All right, moving on to bronzer. Also out of Boxy this month, or maybe Ipsy, I don't actually remember. This is the South Beach Bamboo Bronzer from Ciate London. Beautiful sheen to it. And I'm going to take that on my Rare Beauty bronzer brush. Okay, so that's definitely a very warm shade. So I am going to need to take quite a bit of time to blend that out so we don't get any harsh edges. You can see how heavy I went on this side. Going in with a lighter hand here definitely looks a little bit better. I'm going to switch to a clean brush just to further blend that out and soften it because it's a little more pigmented than I expected. There, much better. See how much better it looks once you soften and blend it out? One of the biggest issues you can have with your bronzer is really just not blending it enough. Now that we've got some shape to the face, we're going to add some blush. This is the Dominique Cosmetics Cream Blush in the shade Warm Peach. I think with the eyes, this is going to be really flattering. I'm going to take that on the butt of a beauty blender. I already know I like this formula because I have it in another color. So I like to just take it and stamp it over the cheek and over the bronzer. Because the bronzer is so warm, this isn't really giving a ton of color, so I am going to build it up a little bit more. I also typically go in with more of a mauve blush, so this is a color that's a little more new for me. So it's really pretty, but I do want to layer a little powder blush on top. So I'm going to use Georgia from Benefit, which is a similar tangerine peachy tone. And I'm just going to soften that over the cheeks. It's also going to highlight a bit. Gone are the days where we want to blind ourselves like a crystal ball. We want something a little more glowy, dewy, which is what we're doing today, without it looking nearly as blinding as we used to. Whatever's left on the brush across the bridge of the nose, and then just soften a bit more. The last product I have today to try is lip, and this is the Pout Clout lipstick in the shade Own It from Complex Couture. Very pretty nude tone, but I am going to line my lips first. So I'm going to grab one of my all-time favorite liners. This is the Crush Liner from Dominique Cosmetics. And I'm going to go in with the lipstick right out of the bullet. So this might be a perfect lip combination if you have the Dominique Cosmetics liner and the Ipsy Complex Couture lipstick. I am going to add a tiny bit of gloss on top just because I am a fan of a gloss, but I do think that looks really pretty. For gloss, nice and easy, I'm going to take the Patrick Ta lip gloss, and I'm going to put a tiny bit, I don't need a lot, just right on the bottom of the center lip to add a little bit of pout. And we finish it off with a setting mist. So I'm actually really happy with how everything turned out. I did set aside the 3 products I did not like, and obviously it's going to be the 2 complexion products because they were not my shade. And actually the mascara, surprisingly enough. The eye where I had to layer 2, I don't think looks as good as the eye where I just used a different mascara, but I would love to hear which one you think looks better. All in, looking at the products from this month's Ipsy Boxycharm subscription boxes, the works, I think I got a pretty good look out of everything. That being said, none of the boxes would have given me a whole look in and of itself. I did need to borrow from all 4 or 5 subscription boxes for the month to get a full look. But that being said, I think it all looks pretty good. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!